I just can't see why you would buy this. Have you put an offer in?
No, not yet.
It seems like I'm just saying like nothing works. Anyway, I think this one probably does work. If you can actually pull this off, you have 2 flats which hasn't cost you any money.
I was just planning on just doing a straight refurb for this. There isn't too much extra value for it, but there's a small profit margin.
I'm like pretty anti-refurbs because it just doesn't add that much value. With any kind of investing, what you want to do is spend the least amount of money to add the most value. The one I did in West Hampstead, I bought a 1-bedroom flat for 303,000, and 6 months later it was valued at 450,000 pounds. With a refurb, you spend £1, you get a £2 return. With an extension, you spend £1, maybe you get a £3 return. I think by reconfiguring, you spend £1, you get a £5 return. Let's have a look at this. So it's 80 square meters. That means it's 40 downstairs, it's 40 upstairs. I would not do a refurb. I would be thinking, could I turn this into 2 flats? If I go down here, property sale history, go to nearby sold, take this. Any flats in the area? Let's have a look.
The problem with flats in this area is they don't actually go up in value that much, so you won't get any capital appreciation. So that's why I've been sticking to houses. Yeah.
Okay, this is a new build. It was new build 15 years ago, and they're sold for 130, right? This house is on for 155. 2 flats are worth 130 each. So that's 260. This is the simplest way of doing BRR. You take the end value, you multiply it by 0.75. The reason you do that is because you're trying to work out when you refinance at a 75% loan to value, how much money are you going to get? So you're going to get back £195,000. So if you can do the entire project for £195,000, by the time you buy, add value and refinance, it means it hasn't cost you any money and you're in for nothing. Let's say you buy this for 135. If I now take off 135 because you buy it for 135, stamp duty is 4,000, right? So then I take off £4,000. Now you're going to have some legal costs in there, take off another £1,000. You're going to have some valuation fees, take off another £1,000. You're going to have planning permission, take off like £2,000. So that leaves £52,000. If you can do the refurb for £52,000, that means you bought a 3-bedroom house, you've turned it into 2 flats. When you refinance, you have none of your own money left in the deal. Yet you have 2 flats which are cash flowing you money on a monthly basis. I know your argument is the flats are not going to go up in value that much, but if you can actually pull this off and those numbers work in your particular area, you have 2 flats which hasn't cost you any money. If you have the option where you have 2 flats with no money in and it's making you, let's say £500 a month, versus a house which has more of a potential to go up in value, but it's cost you 40 grand or something in order to do, then I would argue you're better off just getting 2 flats when compared to the alternative.
So it's a 3-bed and terrace. I think this can be converted into a 4-bed by moving the kitchen into one of the reception rooms, the dining room, let's say, if it is big enough.
The only issue is that generally a bedroom downstairs is a bit strange. From a valuation point of view, it might be a bit of a challenge because it's kind of hard to argue it being a bedroom sometimes because it's downstairs and you typically don't have bedrooms downstairs unless it's a bungalow. That would be my only concern with something like this. Then the other thing you have to think about is this whole play of going from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom, right? A 3-bedroom property is a very typical family property in this country, whereas 4-bedroom properties, I would wonder, would people need more space since there's a lot more people? Because now we're getting into that territory of a lot more people since it's a 4-bed. If you turn this into the kitchen dining is going to be very small. For example, if this was a bedroom and this was a kitchen dining, it would be pretty small. By the way, what's the status on this? Have you put an offer in?
No, not yet.
Okay, fine. So you don't have to go through with this. It seems like I'm just saying like nothing works. Anyway, I would search for a 2-bedroom house, just sifting through. Let's keep going because I'm looking for a bedroom which is big enough, which I can partition down the middle and turn into 2 bedrooms. The issue I'm having is a lot of the big bedrooms only have 1 window, and so therefore you can't partition it. It's not that the strategy doesn't work, it's just in this area it probably doesn't work. Having said that, I think this one probably does work. You have a bedroom, has 2 windows, thinking partitioning this down the middle. This area here, again, you'll have to work out where that window fits and stuff. Maybe this area here you could use as part of this bedroom and use that as like the cupboard space, and then you'll be okay. And then this room would be slightly smaller. With a lot of 3-bedroom properties, you normally have what they call like a box room, which is a single room, right? So you have 2 doubles in a single. That is what I would be looking to do in your situation, in your area, which is going through enough of these floor plans to find a 2-bedroom, which meets the spec to turn into a 3-bedroom, doing it that way.
It's got a large living area downstairs and a kitchen, and then the 3 bedrooms are upstairs with a bathroom. I'm thinking of some using 2 flats. Is it possible?
The first thing I look at is the size of the 2 floors. This area is 22.75 square meters. This area is 10 square meters. These two rooms combined are 32 square meters. If you had a flat, you would come through this door, go here into that flat, you would go upstairs to the upstairs flat. So the only space you have for the downstairs flat is basically the living room and the kitchen. If I go London space standards, by the way, I just searched London because it's easy for me to find this document, but it applies throughout the country. If you're trying to create a 1-bedroom flat, the minimum size has to be 37 square meters, and it says number 2, which means that if you have a shower room, not a bath, then the 1-bedroom flat has to be 37 square meters. If you have a bath, then it has to be 39 square meters. Now, in your case, this is not even 37 square meters, so therefore it's not big enough to be turned into a 1-bedroom flat. So in this situation, this property wouldn't actually work because it's not big enough. If hypothetically this was 40 square meters and this was 40 square meters, then you would be okay. It's just a slightly too small. You can't really add that much value from a refurb. I just can't see why you would buy this and do a refurb and then just rent it back out. It's just not going to make that much money. You are much better off. I can show you. I'm just going to put in Anfield. So let's go 3-bedroom. Let's go houses. Let's go terraced houses. This one is 98 square meters. This is 44 and this is 44, which meets the criteria of 40 square meters for upstairs and downstairs. This should be fine in terms of turning this into 2 flats. And this is on for 120. The one you had was also 120. If I were you, I would be buying this one and not this one because you can't do anything with this one.
It's got loads of spaces there. It's super rundown. It's got a garage there as well. 5-bedroom. Possibly we can do so many things with it. It was going for 850 and I brought it down to 800. The refurb inside will take about 200,000. However, I looked at the old houses. The maximum is like 1,080,000 or something like that.
The biggest problem I see with this deal, you want to buy this for 800,000, 200,000 on the refurb, you have stamp duty. By the time you've done the entire project, it'll cost you maybe 1.2 million. And in the end, it's only going to be worth about 1.2 million. The problem with doing refurbs is that it just doesn't add that much value. What I would be looking to do is you have a property here. Clearly next to it is not a bungalow. The first thing I would be thinking is, can you add another floor to this and make this significantly bigger? Could that be worth maybe 1.6, 1.7 million? The benefit of a bungalow is that the space is massive. The ground floor is 177 square meters. A 3-bedroom house, the entire house is normally about 80 square meters. Just the ground floor is like the size of 2 houses. So if you went 1 floor up, you're going from 177 to 330 square meters or something. That is how you're going to add real value to something like this, not by doing a refurb. In this area, I don't know if stuff sells for 1.5, 1.6 million. So if I go onto nearby sold properties, a 4-bedroom house, 1.5 million. Yours could be even bigger than this and it would be in brand new condition. If you can make this into a massive house, maybe that could be sold for 1.6, 1.7 million. And it costs you 1.4 million and you might make 250 grand. So the other thing to consider is, what if you knock the house down and you put up 2 detached houses, each worth £1 million? The GDV is now £2 million. I would not buy this and do a refurb because I just can't see how by the time you're done with this, it's going to add enough value. Talk us through the plan for this one.
So this is a 1-bed flat and it's quite small, but the kitchen has the possibility to be moved into the reception room, making it a little kitchen lounge. Kitchen can be turned into the 2nd bedroom, adding value. I did talk to the agent. They're probably sort of uppricing it, but they reckon 350 with an additional bed and brand new refurbished.
I think from a layout point of view, this works perfectly.
I know you said to stay away from it, but it's a council estate, not just a separate ex-council flat. It's part of a pretty large estate.
I generally prefer that if it's a council building in a private area as opposed to in a council estate. And let me give you an example. These are some council blocks. If you look around it, you have the oval cricket ground. You go down here, everything else is private, right? So it's a council block in a private area. The property you have is a council property in a council estate. The reason I avoid that generally is because this property is still going to be very desirable because it's just in a private area, and private areas normally are more desirable than council areas, right? So what will happen is if the values go up in this particular area, then the value of this also goes up. To me, it's just a much safer bet being in one of these buildings because this building, even though it's a council building, is going to be much cheaper than something like this across the road, which is private and it's going to be significantly more expensive. But you're literally 10 seconds away from stuff like this. And you're so close to stations. You're literally outside the wall of the cricket ground where all the big cricket matches in this country are played. If, let's say, in a normal market, this property is worth 350 and you're getting it for a bargain at 275, then I would say maybe it's worth doing because you're getting such a good price for something like this. But if you're paying 275 and it's normally worth 275, I would argue I can probably show you 50 others in Rightmove right now where this criteria meets, the deal is just as good, but I can get it in a private area like this as opposed to an estate.